I've always had a passing interest in analog horror. What many write off to be a schlocky jump scare fest with stick figures galore, I think this is one of the more interesting horror scenes on the internet for quite some time. For every derivative work, we also find a series that pushes analog horror to its new heights, and shows what the genre is really capable of. While the genre is oversaturated with generic spooky horror with text-to-speech voices, along with some genuine AI slop content that's popped up in recent months, I think there's always something to look forward to that will always keep me interested no matter what happens. But there's something else that's kept me hooked. Not a creator, not a series, not a fantastical horror moment, but a theme. A lingering memory. A thought in the back of my mind whenever I stare into the abyss of VHS noise. I see a ghost in the static. Hi, I'm Meadow. You may not know me, but soon, you will. Today I'm going to be walking through my theory and thoughts on something that's been permeating through analog horror for some time that I've not seen a lot of people mention or discuss it outside of a few comments here and there. But Meadow, what the hell are you talking about? Analog horror is just a funny little horror scene, like, ooh, spooky monsters, ooh, VHS effects, stick figures. For some reason, I don't know why. Like, there can't be something hidden in here. And to that, I say, you do realize that analog horror has hidden messages in some of them, you know, people can connect the dots, but yes, those are surface level things, and you'll find them in a good chunk of analog horror videos on this site, and even on the more popular ones too, whether you find them interesting, cringe, not scary, or horrifying is just your opinion, and that's completely fine. I'm not here to change anyone's mind. But I think there's something else that is influencing us to fear these kinds of videos, way more than any other kind of horror out there at the moment. Something that I think is being added without intention. And with that, I think we should learn some philosophy, don't you think? That's right, you're gonna learn about hauntology. You're gonna learn today!
Oh, you're cheating!
You're gonna learn!
Hauntology is a philosophical term that was coined by Jacques Derrida in his seminal work, Spectres of Marx, released in 1993, and while it is applicable in aspects like politics and Shakespearean plays, it wasn't until 2014 when it became more well known in the general zeitgeist, thanks to Mark Fisher and his book, Ghosts of My Life, where he brought hauntology into the context of music, TV, and other types of media. For the sake of the video, I will be mainly using Fisher's interpretation and ideas of hauntology. So, what is it? Hauntology is essentially the ghosts of our past, whether it be a death of a loved one, a decision we made several years ago, or an item we cherish so much that it influences the decisions, media, and thoughts of our present. It's also the aspect where these ghosts influence the present so much that it becomes barren, stagnant, and decrepit. As Fisher says in the book Ghosts of My Life, the past cannot be forgotten. The present cannot be remembered. Another aspect of the modern understanding of hauntology, among other things, is the one, the only, nostalgia! Woo! That insane, intoxicating drug where we can't get enough of. It's everywhere. It's used to bring back something you loved as a child, a sweet memory of your first loved one, and, fascism? I don't know about that. What nostalgia offers in the realm of hauntology is the fact that it's used not as a positive thing, but almost used in a regretful and melancholic way. It's something back then where you thought the world would be a better place than when you are right now. This nostalgia can then be weaponized into something that can be used to influence the modern landscape, whether this be the countless sequels and reboots that led to Hollywood, the usage of 40s and 50s advertising by right-wing commentators, or even in horror. Nostalgia is also a key component of several horror subgenres, analog horror withstanding. You know those creepy versions of songs that play during Hollywood movie trailers? Or a toy you enjoyed came to life and started killing people and also started affirming gender-fluid people on the side as well? That is weaponized nostalgia. And anything can be nostalgic, as Cameron Summers put it in his blog, Analog Horror and Nostalgia. Once something is widespread, it can then become the object of nostalgia. Once something is the object of nostalgia, it's easy enough to flip the switch into something uncanny. Emotions in the prior times that may have been evoked by colonial-era imagery or autumn landscapes now cling to the electromechanical systems of our youth. For me, it's payphones that evoke these feelings, but for others, it's the VHS tape. So, what about analog horror? What's that got to do with DeVryder and Mark Fisher and all the other things I've just explained to you? Well, let me ask you a question in return. Have you ever actually looked at the VHS effects on these videos? Take your time. Notice the crackles, the buzz, the slight distortions on the screen. Notice how it doesn't feel right. It's not what I heard. That's not how the pixels move. The buzz sounds wrong. This isn't what I remember it to be like. These are some of the feelings I get whenever I watch analog horror. The aspect that the memories of something I enjoyed once upon a time has now simply been morphed into something that I just don't recognize anymore. While a lot of the people do nitpick the effects and decry it as not being a true VHS look, and there are other analog horror series out there that fit the bill of being authentically analog, I feel like the inauthenticness adds to this wrongness that this subgenre displays. As analog horror series deals with the uncanny valley and things looking out of place, the visuals of the VHS effects, among other things, just adds to this uncanniness and adds to the mystique of things. This effect is doubled considering that a lot of the analog horror creators, outside of a couple like Chris Straub, are all born in the 2000s or very late 90s, where VHS and analog TVs were slowly being phased out. They don't have any memories of them, fully experiencing, only seeing it through videos and other media. Analog horror is a simulacra. It's a copy of a copy, an incomplete memory of something that's already incomplete. And I absolutely love it. But I feel like there's something missing in this puzzle piece, because I think we need to discuss something that's appeared in so many analog horror videos that I'm surprised not many people didn't catch on. Or, well, listened too closely. Everywhere at the End Time is an album released between 2016 and 2019 by Leland James Kirby, who is mainly known for the alias of The Caretaker. If you aren't aware of what this album is, it's a 6-part series acting as the final farewell to the Caretaker alias, and explores the slow, gradual descent of dementia. From the early beginnings of stages 1, 2, and 3 with its sickly sweet big band samples coaxed with reverb, distortion, and repetition to the glitchy plentophonic-ass soundscapes that stage 4 and 5 bring to the table, and finishing off with one of the most dark and devastating drone albums I've listened to for quite some time with stage 6. It's honestly a piece of work, and I personally think that this is one of the best albums of all time. Pop 2 still beats it though, like that album fucking slaps. Like please listen to track 10, it's so good. While there is much to be talked about everywhere at the end of time regarding the themes of mental illness and the degradation of memory itself, I think a part that's been overlooked with the album in particular is the use of hauntology in its themes. Of course, the Caretaker is one of the main figures of hauntology in the music sphere, but I feel that gets swept under the rug in favor of the whole mythos of it being an album about dementia. The usage of the big band and jazz samples to represent the warm and loving memories of a childhood the character once loved, and enjoying them, deciding to manipulate them into long, foreboding drones and noisy passages is just what hauntology in the music genre represents in a tiny, neat little bow. While it's not the only album that acts as a hauntological romp through a decaying mindscape, a huge chunk of the Caretaker's previous albums are stuffed full with these kinds of themes as well. It's also worth noting that Leyland also made an album called Theoretically Pure Antigrade Amnesia back in 2005 that also dealt with memory loss, and even had the linear notes written by the one and only Mark Fisher. And when Mark tragically passed away after taking his own life, and in the midst of the release cycle of Everywhere at the End of Time, the Caretaker dropped a tribute album called Take Care. It's a desert out there. It's a fitting album for someone who inspired and proliferated the idea of hauntology in the modern day. A project that I think shows that Leyland always had this knack of hauntology and the deconstruction of memory and nostalgia is the V/VM album, The Death of Rave. A monstrous project that is 10 hours long, oh my god, that experiments with noise, droning ambient, and the annihilation of iconic rave samples that in some parts feels like a precursor to what he would fully achieve in the latter back half of the 6-part project. If you have time, go listen to it, but if not, don't worry, as there's a more condensed version of the project that's more manageable to feast your ears on. And if my discussion of Everywhere at the End of Time caught your interest, then I highly recommend checking out Pat Chennington's video on the project. It's a great watch. Now, if you have been around the analog horror scene for quite some time, you may notice that his work, mainly from Everywhere at the End of Time and An Empty Bliss, show up quite a lot in these internet horror series OSTs. For better...
And remember, when you are not running, I'm only getting closer.
Or for worse. I'm sorry, I can't get the face out. It's so bad. Why? While it wasn't intentional that the works of Leland Kirby is used through a bulk of the analog horror genre purely for their hauntological connections, it actually adds to this aspect and builds it up even more. Why not use the music of the decaying memories of a bygone era and being slowly corrupted by the degradation of memory with a horror genre built from the decaying, incomplete, and twisted memories of our own analog tapes and TVs? What's not to love about that? Now wait, these are all just theories. These all can just be debunked with a simple Google search, or a brief statement of authorial intent of what these series are and what they represent. And, well, in some cases I'm making a pretty big stretch with this, but what if I told you there was a horror series that fits perfectly with the concepts, philosophical questions, and the atmosphere of hauntology that's been sitting right in front of our eyes.
When the swallows homeward fly, when the summer days are gone, when the roses fade and die, and no more is heard the song.
The Oldest View by Keen Pixels is without a doubt the most hauntological analog horror project out there. While it's not considered analog horror in the typical sense, the ideas and concepts, plot structure, and pacing feels just right at home. Like with some of the shots in the series, you can just slap on a VHS filter and it would 100% fit in with many of the other Backrooms videos that Kane has posted to his channel. What makes this different from all of his other works is the theme of forgetting what was once remembered, and the abandonment of them as well. If you just simply hone in on the third episode, The Rolling Giant, you are missing the whole picture. From the video Life of a Giant showcasing the life and eventual rotting of the cardboard statue in an abandoned mall, to the remains of Valley View Mall, where Kane explores the demolished remains of the mall with comparisons of the 3D render that is just so beautifully tragic. The memories are haunting this abandoned mall, and it's turning everything it touches into a monster. Whether it be the depiction of the Rolling Giant as Julian Revachon, a French botanist that helped inspire future generations to pick up botany, which Wyatt, a protagonist of the series, does briefly. The flashes of decayed bodies of settlers and horses, which represents the hardships that Julian's own colony, La Reunion, faced as well. The mall also undergoes this transformation itself in the last section of The Rolling Giant, where plants and trees grow and overtake the building, claiming itself to the forest of memory. However, even this idyllic view of this building being abandoned never came into fruition, as in real life, the mall was destroyed and tore down on the same day as Wyatt went underground in the series. The last memories of the statue, once celebrated, beloved, and most importantly, remembered, is now left to rot, to be forgotten. Too heavy and cumbersome to be moved out of the ruins, and finally was broken down, leaving only the cart that carried it along. He was forgotten once again. Atomically, modern humans have existed for approximately 300,000 years. Recorded history accounts for roughly 1.6% of this time. That is, until Kane Pixels came across an image that haunted him forever, that set a seed in his mind that bloomed into this series, just like what happened with Wyatt. This fear of being forgotten and abandoned to the realms of memory culminates with both the ending of The Rolling Giant and Dispersal, with two scenarios that Kane shows us. One where nothing is remembered as Wyatt falls to his death and ends up in the forest of lost memories, just like Julian did. And one where he doesn't, where he lives to tell the tale. The monster of this tale isn't just the Rolling Giant, it's the memory of the Rolling Giant, and the talented people who worked on it. The memory of Valley View Mall and how many people walked through its atrium every day. The memory of Julian Revachon and the contributions he's had to botany. The memories of Wyatt, the memories of the Oldest View itself. Who knows in the future if this series will end up in the same way as Julian or Valley View Mall, left to rot in an abandoned website when no one else remembers. I think the ending of Dispersal fits the end of this series so damn well. The title of the video, Dispersal, according to the Cambridge Dictionary, means the action of spreading across or moving away over a large area. Just like Wyatt spreads the video of his exploration down below to his audience, and in tandem, the memories of Julian as well, which is visually shown as the rolling giant takes the place of Wyatt's car on the road. There's so much more to talk about with this series, just outside of the themes and philosophical underpinnings of this series. Like the excellent visual effects that the series shows off in spades, the atmosphere that's so dense at times that you could just cut a knife through it, and the horror of the giant statue itself, with it tricking Wyatt with the rules that it plays several times, and the, uncanny appearance of it as well. It is an absolutely fantastic watch, and I recommend you give it a try as well. But it doesn't just end there. There's countless other internet horror series and subgenres that delve into the memory and nostalgia, and this corruption of it as well, that I can just easily go through. So, let's just do that. One of the series that's caught my attention for its hauntological aspects is June Archive, an internet horror ARG series that asks the question, what if you can go back and try and save everything that was lost? It's a series that is an archival channel of Flipnote videos, saved and rescued from an old website called Flipnote Hatena, but it's all changed, distorted and corrupted in an attempt to save everything. It also has ARG elements if you're into that, and the new animations in this series that extend from the original Flipnote animations are to die for. If you want a mission statement from the series, check out the video Archive Announcement 2. It says everything on the tin. If you want to learn more about Flipnotes that isn't just from the Let's Go Gambling guy, then I recommend you give it a watch. There's also digital horror, a subsection of analog horror that points its nostalgia not at VHS tapes and CRT TVs, but to the 90s and Y2K era websites, Windows Movie Maker, old YouTube videos and the like. The old quality pixelated 240p videos is the go-to look for digital horror, and the one I want to point out the most is Lacey's Games, a set of videos that is a subversion of those girly dress-up games, from a stalker lurking by your window in your dress-up game, to relapsing and indulging in your worst nightmares and thoughts while you feed whatever horrible mess to customers in your cooking game. It's a really great series, and Ghost Tundra does an excellent job with nailing the aesthetics of this genre as well. Actually, in fact, there's actually a video game about this project that's in development that, when it comes out, I'd recommend you give it a go. I've heard it's pretty good. Sins of the Past and the aesthetics that it pulls from, dreamcore and weirdcore, also act as another branching point for this kind of hauntological internet horror fusion. Sins of the Past is a kaleidoscope of clashing visuals, from PS1 graphics to typical VHS effects to early 90s visual novel interfaces, and the list goes on. It uses this nostalgia not to only scare the viewer, but also to disorient and tell a fractured but heart-wrenching story about trying to piece together what happened from splintered memories. And I cannot neglect to mention Skinamarink, an experimental horror movie about the darkness of being abandoned by your own family, the monsters that you create from your own mind, and with a healthy dose of corrupted nostalgia that terrifies the children whenever they try to look away from the terror of what's beyond the pitch black darkness. So, why does this matter? I think one of the reasons why I spent the last however long trying to discuss this topic is that hauntology influences us in this day and age, and how it affects horror media as well. The rise in popularity of nostalgic media like analog horror, dreamcore, the revival of Frutiger Aero, and many more just simply speaks to how much we want to bring back the old days and pump life back into them. Analog horror does this in spades, albeit by happenstance. This hauntological landscape permeates through everything, and while it's not purposeful like the Caretaker's magnum opus or even the thinkings of Mark Fisher, analog horror still plays on these very same tropes and ideas that birthed the modern understanding of hauntology. I think another reason why I've talked about this is because I feel like we should think more about the stuff that we consume for content. A majority of the deep dives of these internet horror series, outside of a few, just basically boil down to a basic plot summary and theories on the story aspects. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy them as well, and I feel like we need to critically analyze this kind of media as well. Explore the hidden themes and delve into what makes these horror videos so damn captivating for all of us. So, next time you watch a decent analog horror video, think to yourself, why does this make you feel so tensed, scared, horrified? Why do the ghosts in the static haunt us so much? Thank you for watching the video. I don't know what else to say in this, but thank you all for checking out the video. I really appreciate it if you can hit me a like, maybe subscribe and hit the bell. I think it does something. I don't know. I've been away for like so damn long. I don't know anything, but if you can do that, I'd appreciate it. One of the things I also wanted to kind of like throw out there was that during the research of this video, I came across this video by Bella Chow that kind of goes into the similar themes of Caretaker and Hauntology and analog horror, though mainly more focused on the Caretaker. So if you want to go check that out, you can do. Also, shout out to Orrery. She's helped out quite a bit with this video, with like giving feedback and such, so please check her out. She's got a really good horror video soon as well, and I thank all of you. All of the video credits and the sources that I've got from the video will also be in the description as well. So thank you all for checking me out, and I'll hope to see you soon. See ya for now. Also, I don't know where to put this in the video, but while I was researching the Caretaker section, I came across this album art in the Rate You Music. Like, what the hell? What the hell, Leland? Do you want to explain? What the fuck?